so soon. With the house lights on and this great stage of fools. Yesterday's gone and tomorrow not yet. We've only today, so let's.
So after the first album, I didn't really have a lot of money, so I was kind of thinking how to put together the second album. And this place here is it belongs to a friend of mine, Orkin, and he gave me pretty much the run of his studio. So I kind of spent a year and a half messing around with drums and figuring out other instruments, bass, piano, that type of thing. And kind of gradually over time an album kind of pieced together. This is where I recorded most of the album, really. All of it, in fact.
Ian and I had worked together before on his first album, The Greatest Event. So we already had a working relationship. I knew Ian's music, I knew what he does, and he knew what I do when it comes to arranging.
Got in touch with him, sent him some songs for the first album. He literally hired a quartet. We arrived at the studio and conducted them, and in a day we had the whole first album finished. Second album, once I had the songs at a point where I thought they were ready, I got in touch with Peter, and he said, "Yeah, I think I can help," and the whole Cornell Orchestra thing happened.
About this new album coming out. We started talking about arrangements. We knew we wanted an orchestra. We knew we wanted orchestra arrangements. All we needed was an orchestra, and that's where Chris Kim came in.
So my name is Chris Kim. I am the director of orchestras at Cornell University.
I went and had a chat with him, told him a little bit about Ian and what myself and Ian were doing, and I sent Chris some of Ian's music and said, "Listen, would you be interested in collaborating with us a little bit?"
And then Peter sent me a few links to his songs, and I absolutely fell in love with them. They were beautiful, personal.
Pretty much straight away, not long after I planted the seeds of the idea in Chris's head. I mean, he agreed, to doing it, and so that meant we had Chris, and then we have the Cornell Symphony Orchestra.
Ian came over from Dublin with Peter, and they came with a stack of papers, which were new arrangements of 5 songs for his second album, and then he also brought 5 songs from his first album. So we spent 2 days recording the 5 new songs, and then another day learning the other 5 songs.
I got to New York, and Peter had organised a guy to record the session as well. So I got to New York, into a classroom with 30 students and their instruments, a conductor, and I literally sat in the corner and watched the whole thing go on. I had no active role whatsoever, and that was a bit strange coming from a scenario where I was pretty much in here doing everything myself.
Every orchestra has its limitations and it's the things that it's good at, and this is a young orchestra. I think the average age in the orchestra is probably 19 or 20, but Chris is a good musician, a good conductor, and I think he knows exactly what he needs to do in order to get the best out of those young players, relatively inexperienced, some of them. But he's good at getting them to switch gear, as it were, because remember, this is an orchestra that's more accustomed to playing Mahler and Tchaikovsky than backing a rock band.
But Peter somehow manages to keep that original idea of one person with a single voice singing with the guitar, and somehow keeps that essence alive. And I don't know how he did it, but his arrangements are, it's like you give a person a big hug, right? But it's not, you didn't squish them.
Stare off the floor. You've seen me before. You can't tell words, it's not so clear, but it seems that you have reason for embarrassment. You feel so your eyes tell me you're not proud of what you think I know.
Many times I listen to a band, like a four-piece band, right? And they're playing this sort of anthem-like nature, right? And it's really trying to stir up emotions, right? And that's the power that the orchestra can bring, because just the sheer number of souls in there, right? Because four people's soul has a certain amplification level, right? But when you have 60 people in sync and they're feeling the same thing, God, there's nothing like that in the world.